All right, welcome to Graphing Inequalities. Before we start out a review of how to graph an inequality, let's review what the various symbols mean for an inequality. All right, so we have a less than sign, greater than sign, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. All right, so less than, greater than, less than, or equal, greater than, or equal. So based on the sign, we're going to use a different type of symbol on our number line. So the a less than or a greater than, get a circle around the number because that means we can get infinitely close to the number, but we can't actually equal the number. The less than or equal to and the greater than or equal to, those get closed circles because those can equal the number. All right, so let's take a look at this one. So here, notice we have some blank number lines. And remember that your negatives keep going to your left, your positives keep going to the right. So if we have negative 12, we have x is less than negative 12. So I think I'm going to put negative 12 in the middle, and then negative 13, negative 14, negative 15, and I'll do negative 11, negative 10, negative 9, negative 8, negative 7. All right, so that should be plenty. If x is everything less than negative 12, I'm going to put a circle at negative 12 because there's no symbol underneath of it. And everything is less, so that I'm going to go to all of my smaller numbers. So that's all I'm going to do. And I'm going to make an arrow at the end because this does continue on forever. My next one says x is less than, or excuse me, is 22 is less than x. So that means 22 is smaller, x is going to be everything bigger. Remember, your symbol always opens to the bigger side. So maybe we want to always put, so this is going to be our greater number. And this is going to be our smaller. And the other way as well, greater number, smaller number. Okay, it always opens to the bigger number. It always points to the smaller number. So here I have 22, so I think I'm going to put 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 21, 20, 19, 18. All right, so I'm going to put an open circle, this is called open circle, at 22. And then it says, I'm going to read this again to myself, 22 is less than x. So if 22 is the smallest, that means x has to be everything bigger. So I'm going to draw my line to the right, which is everything bigger. I want to do a couple test numbers just to be sure that I'm correct. So I think, I don't want to pick anything in the 20s because that gets confusing. So I think I'm going to pick 50 because that would eventually be along this line. Is 22 less than 50? Yes, 22 is less than 50, so that does work. All right, let's take a look at the next one. So it's 13, so 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Okay? Here I have a line underneath of it, so it's going to be closed circle at 13. So my inequality can equal 13, or it can be everything. So it says 13 is greater than or equal to x, which means x is going to be everything smaller. So I'm going to have my arrow going to the left. I'm going to pick a number to plug in just to be sure. So I think I'm going to pick 0. Is 13 greater than or equal to 0? Yes, 13 is greater than 0. So that works. I have my arrow going the correct direction. So I like to pick some benchmark numbers to check my work. X is less than or equal to negative 25. So negative 25, negative 26, negative 27, negative 28, negative 29, negative 30. Negative 24, negative 23, negative 22, negative 21. Okay, again, I have my symbol underneath, so that means it's going to be equal to. This says x is less than or equal to negative 25, less than. So my smaller numbers are going to be to the left. So maybe I'll pick negative 100. Is negative 100 less than or equal to negative 25? Yes, it is. All right, my final one that I'm going to look at for graphing is going to be x is greater than or equal to 15. So I'm going to say 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 14, 13, 12, 11. Symbol underneath, closed circle. X is greater than 15. So I'm going to look at everything bigger and put my arrow. I'm going to pick a benchmark number. I think I'll pick 30. Is 30 greater than or equal to 15? Yes, it is. So with inequalities, most of the time, once we solve the inequality, we're going to get an answer that looks something like this. Then we're going to graph our solution. All right, so this is actually the end result of solving inequalities is taking our answer and graphing it. Okay, so we just went over how to do what you're going to do with the answer. So now let's look at solving them. The big idea here is that we are going to solve them the exact same way that we would solve an equation. Okay, so if you notice, we have inequalities on one side, we have equations on the other. So here, how would I solve this equation? What would I do? Well, I would add 3 to both sides. So I'm going to say plus 3 plus 3. I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. It doesn't matter what the symbol is. This is still a balancing point, all right? It keeps the two sides of my inequality or the two sides of my equation separate. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Add 3, add 3. Over here, I'm going to get x equals 15. Oh, you know what? I do see I have a difference here. I put a negative sign on this side and I didn't put a negative sign over here. So let's take this negative sign, let's turn it into a positive sign because I'm trying to show the similarities here. So sorry about that. All right, so I'm going to get x is greater than or equal to 15 because I have x is equal to 15 over here. Well, how do I graph x is equal to 15? If I were to graph that, because we can, 15, 16, 17, 14, 13. It would very simply be, it's equal to, it would just be a dot right there. That's why we don't generally graph it because that's what it is. But it can be graphed. Now, x is greater than 15. That's a little different. So I'm going to say 15, 16, 17, 14, 13. If I'm making my own number line, unlike the front page where there's ones that were made for you, I usually do 5 numbers. I put whatever my target number is, that's going to go in the middle, and then I do 2 above and 2 below. That's kind of my style. So here, this is a closed circle, all right? And so I'm going to close circle here, and then it says x is everything greater than 15. Everything bigger. There we go. Let's look at the next one. So here I have 12x is either equal to 192 or is less than 192. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to divide by 12. Multiplication is going on, so that means that I need to do the opposite operation, and that's division. Nothing has changed from what you learned with solving equations. We are solving these the same way. All right, this still cancels out. Here I'm going to get x equals 16. Here I'm going to get x is less than 16. The difference is in the answer. This, one answer, x equals 16. This is a solution set. I can pick any number that is less than 16 to plug in for this to be a true statement. To graph this, I'm going to put 16, 17, 18, 15, 14. I'm going to put an open circle, because there's no line underneath of it, at 16, and it tells me x is everything less than. All right, so I'm going to go to everything smaller. Now, if I want to check this, and when I check it, I want to check with easy numbers. So let's put the check on the side over here. So I'm going to pick a number that is less than 16. What do I want to pick? Let's pick 2, all right? So we're going to plug in 2 and say 12 times 2. We want to know, is that less than 192? Well, 12 times 2 is 24. I picked it because it was easy, and I like picking numbers that are far away so that they can actually make a difference. So 24, is that less than 192? Yes, it is. So I have the correct side to my solution set. All right. Next, let's take a look at the next one. I have x divided by 7 is less than 105. So what am I going to do here? Well, I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. And 105 times 7 gives me, I'm going to do the same thing over here too on my equation. And you should notice, you should be able to just go straight into solving these because it's the same. It's the same as the equations. So these are going to cancel out. And I'm going to get x is less than or equal to 735. On this side, again, they also cross out, and I get x equals 735. So to graph this, so 735 is going to go in the middle. Maybe I'm going to say 740, 745, 750. You don't necessarily have to count by ones, especially when you get to big numbers. And since we're just making a solution set, you may want to count by 5s or 10s. It's up to you. All right, so I'm going to put a closed circle at 735. And then this is x is less than 735, so I'm going to pick everything less. All right, well, now I need to figure out what number am I going to put in here. Well, I'm going to make it easy on myself. I see that I'm going to have to divide by 7, so I'm going to pick something that's divisible by 7. So maybe I'll put 21. All right, well, what's 21 divided by 7? 21 divided by 7 is 3. Is 3 less than or equal to 105? Oh yeah, 3 is definitely less than 105, so it works. I picked the correct side. Two-step equations. Same thing, we're solving them the same way. So the first thing that I'm going to do on this equation is I would add 11 to both sides. So I have 3x equals 39, and then I would divide by 3 on both sides, and I get x equals 13. I can do those same things here. Add 11, I still get 3x and 39. I just bring down my greater than symbol, divide by 3, and I get x is greater than 13. To graph that, 13, 14, 15, 12, 11, open circle at 13, x is greater than 13. That means x is going to be everything bigger than 13. All right, if I want to plug in a number, I need to pick a number that's bigger than 13. Well, I think I'm going to pick 20. That should work. So 3 times 20 is 60. And then 60 minus 11, 60 minus 10 is going to be 50, and then minus 1 more, so 49. So 60 minus 11 gives me 49. 49 is greater than 28. All right, that works. Moving on. So now, the difference between inequalities and equations are that equations have an exact answer, and inequalities have a solution set. But the big idea here is they are solved the same way. Now, we have one difference. One difference. So you have one new thing to memorize because you should already know how to graph them. So here is your new thing that you need to memorize. If the number that the variable is being multiplied or divided by is negative, you have to flip or switch, whatever word you want to use, the inequality symbol. Or reverse is another word you could use. For the answer. Okay, so which of these are we going to end up having to flip our answer for? We're going to have to do it for this one because right here, get my highlighter, this is negative. It's being multiplied by x. This is negative. X is being divided by -4. This is negative. -5 is being multiplied by x. No. This 5 is positive. No. This 14 is positive. So yes, yes, no, no. It doesn't matter about the other side. It does not matter that this is -84. What matters is the number that is being multiplied or divided by the variable that is with the variable, the coefficient. That's the number that matters. So, an example of what this is going to look like. So let's take a look at this one. So if I add 2 to both sides, I get -5x is less than or equal to 15. Divide by -5. And now I'm telling you, you need to flip the symbol. So instead of a less than, it's going to become a greater than or equal to symbol. I have my x. 15 divided by -5 is -3. Well, why? Why did we need to do that? Let's graph our solution. So I have -3, -2, -1, 0, -4, -5. Okay? So x is greater than or equal to -3, so I'm going to put a closed circle. It says x is greater, so that means x is everything bigger. So if I pick a number like 10, because that would be part of our solution set that goes this way, is 10 greater than or equal to -3? Yes, 10 is bigger than -3. If we hadn't switched the number, switched the symbol, then our solution set would have gone the other direction. Let's say I picked -50. I would have had -50 is, wait, let me say that again. If we hadn't flipped the sign around, then we would have had we would have had x is less than or equal to -3. So -50, yep, would have been in the solution set. If I plugged in -50 here, I would have -5 times -50, and that would have given me positive 250, and then I would subtract 2, and that would give me positive 248 is less than or equal to 13. Does that make sense? That doesn't work. It doesn't work that I would get 248 is less than 13. All right, let's say I picked another number down this way would have been -10. -5 times -10 would have been positive 50. Positive 50 minus 2 would be 48. 48 is not less than or equal to 13, so that wouldn't work. But here, if I pick numbers, let's say I pick 0. 0 times -5 is 0. 0 minus 2 is -2. Yep, -2 is less than 13. Okay, so in order for the solution sets to work, if you multiply or divide by a negative in that final set, you're going to reverse your inequality symbol. All right, if you have any questions, please write some questions. You can write them down here in this space if any questions came up. If you don't have it all, then pause and go back, rewind, get your missing pieces of information. Have a great day.